So the second part of your assignment this week is lesson 10, and it deals with HTML and CSS menus. So we're really not learning any new CSS or HTML really. You're just going to be applying what you know to create pull-down menus. So there is nothing to read in the textbook. Everything that you need is in the lecture demo. And most of these menus are created by using unordered lists. So I have a little review of the code for the unordered list, and then how you would go about converting that into a navigation bar. Okay, and then we've got some layouts. Okay, these are very typical layouts. And for those of you that like to see things on a separate page, you can see that I did stick it on a separate page for you. Okay, same with this one. Okay, so if you wanted to see like with a title and a footer and the whole works, that has it for you. Also how to create submenus this way. And up until this point, the menus are using the HTML elements, but you'll notice that that gets kind of nested deep in there after a while, and many people prefer using IDs instead of nesting all of these elements in their CSS. So if you prefer using IDs, I do go through how to use the IDs as well. You basically have an ID for your main menu and for your submenu. Okay, there's still probably the same amount of code. It's just for some people, this is a little easier to follow. And so there really is not one technique that's better. It's basically just what you prefer. Both techniques are used in industry. So far, we've been looking at vertical bars. And so I also show you how to do a horizontal navigation bar. And all it is a little adjusting of your CSS. And then how to do horizontal navigation using IDs. And how do I get those pull-down submenus? And so this shows you how to do that. And this would be kind of the effect for that pull-down submenu. The only thing that is kind of new in this lecture demo is using icon libraries. And we're going to be using Font Awesome icons. And you can access these icons at the Font Awesome website or at W3 Schools. The newest version of Font Awesome is version 6, and it does require that you pay if you want to use those icons. Versions 5 and 4 they have a lot of free icons. The icons that are at W3 Schools are all free. Okay, so these are two places you can go to look. This gallery is taking you, actually I can show you. It takes you here. You see how it says free or pro only. Make sure that you're going after the ones that are free. You'll notice the ones that require money are kind of dimmed, but they have all sorts of categories. The ones that you will see at W3 Schools, they're pretty much only including the ones that are free. And the reason I think you guys should use W3 Schools is because they break them down into all of the categories for you. And then once you select a category, it's giving you the name of the icon, and the try it button actually gives you code that you can copy and paste into your page. So this is very helpful. Okay, so I've got some examples here. I show you the code. I kind of explain how you would get from these icons to a menu bar. So how do I use the icons in a menu bar? This kind of goes through and explains that. And then we go through the CSS for creating a vertical bar or a horizontal bar. Now, in addition to using those icon libraries, you can also just use HTML entities. So we have in HTML entities that you can put into your code that the browser interprets and creates little symbols from. So those can also be used. And so here is a navigation bar that is using the HTML entities. And then this is the code that I use to create this. And finally, you're going to learn how to do animated navigation buttons. And again, this is just CSS trickery. Okay? You're modifying the CSS to create these little, very cool animated buttons. Okay, and so this just shows you how to create that effect. And you'll notice this is the actual code I use. I don't have real links. Okay, this is called a dummy link. Okay, because I don't really have an about page that you can go to, but I wanted to show you how these work. If I really did have an about page, I would put the real link in here. Okay, so this is everything that you need to know about HTML and CSS menus. Once you finish going through that, then you're going to work through the textbook assignment. There's an entire file structure that you're going to be downloading and decompressing. Video shows you how to do that. After decompressing, you're going to have all of this. And basically, you are going to be modifying the CSS to create menus. Okay, and so you can just kind of walk through this, and the video also walks you through it. And you'll notice this is the traditional nested element method. Then you're going to take that same page or folder and you're going to copy it and you're going to use the ID method so you can see which one you prefer, which one you like better. Using the ID method, you do have to go in to the HTML and make some changes. But this pretty much walks you through. And then you'll know, do I like this nested element method or do I like the ID method better? Here's another structure that you are going to be downloading for task 4, and you'll decompress it and end up with all of these files. And this is going to be a horizontal menu and submenu. Okay, so this would be your CSS code for creating that. And then task 5, you're going to add an icon bar to a page. So I'm basically giving you a page with pull down menu, and you're just going to throw an icon bar at the bottom. Okay, and this is the code that you're going to be entering for the icon bar. This will go right into your HTML page, and then all of this code here is going to go into your CSS so you can format your icon bar. This animation fun page, you're thinking, why is it named animation fun? Because I animated some items on it. What you're going to do is create those little tab sliders. So this code shows you that little example from the lecture with the about, the blog, and the projects that come sliding out. You're going to create those on that page. Okay, and so when you're done, you are going to turn everything in, go into the Dropbox, indicate you're done, And then you're going to move on to the lab assignment. So the lab assignment, you will be converting your assignment page into a page with pull-down menus. That is your lab assignment. So you'll end up with two little sections, a textbook assignment and a lab section. And when you point to the lesson, there's going to be a drop down with links to your different exercises. And I do have a video that shows you how to go about doing the conversion. Okay, so you're definitely going to probably want to watch that video. I also have instructions because it does require changing some of your tags around. And you'll notice that we end up with these dummy links so that when they point to lesson 2, it'll drop down. And that hover is in the CSS. So you might think, why do I need a dummy link here? For people on a mobile device, they do not have a mouse. And so they are going to actually have to press on lesson 2. And in order for them to do that, we create a dummy link. So basically, it's a link that goes nowhere, but it will display the pull-down menu. Okay, so you're going to convert your entire page so that you have pull-down menus. And then you're going to add an icon navigation bar to the footer of the page. So it'll look something like that. And I have actually provided a lot of code. If you wanted to copy and paste this, that would be fine. You could also go into the profitable business page. The CSS that you need for this is in there, and so is the code. I do want you to change the code so that you're not looking at my links. Okay, these are all links to my sites. I want to look at your sites or sites you're interested in. If you have a GitHub site, link to that. If you have things on YouTube or websites that you like to view, link to those. Okay, so you can pretty much link to whatever you want. Okay, you should have appropriate icons, but they really are not very hard to find if you go to W3 Schools and pick the categories. You should be aware that Font Awesome 4 has a different link that you need to add to the top than Font Awesome 5. And I did mention this in the lecture demo and also in the assignment. So let me get rid of some of this because I am going to show you quick. Okay, so that was 5. If you end up bringing in icons from both Font Awesome 4 and 5, then you're going to need links to both at the top. Okay, so let me go in here. Okay, so let's say I'm linking to a chess site, okay? So for Font Awesome 5, this is where the library is. And so I would have to copy and paste that between my opening and closing head tags. Font Awesome 4 actually has some pretty good branding. So this is where like your Amazon and Facebook and all of that kind of stuff is. So let's say, yeah, I shop at Amazon, I'm going to link to them. All right, so you'll notice that that library is in a completely different location. So you would have to include both of those libraries in between your opening and closing head section. Okay, but as far as what icons you have down here, it can be whatever you want. And then the last task is going to be adding those links for this week to the assignment page. And so this week is a little more work than some of the previous weeks. Unfortunately, there's really nothing I can do about that because the last couple weeks of content are important. I can't double up there. And then I have to give you guys some time to prepare for the certification exam. So it is a little bit more work this week, and I apologize for that. If you run into problems or if you have questions, make sure you transfer your pages. And I am very good at debugging pages, and I'm happy to help. So try to have fun with this. I know some of you have been waiting to learn this information. So have fun. Let me know if you run into problems.